Going to be talking about black people versus data centers. Let's get into it.
Black neighborhoods like dumping grounds. Right now in 2026, the world's most powerful tech companies are doing exactly the same thing, but masking it as innovation for the greater good. With over 3,000 data centers operating in America and 1,000 more in the pipeline, specific communities are feeling the impact first. There's no escaping AI, but both sides of the aisle are pushing back on the rise of pop-up data centers. The demand for unreasonable amounts of water, power, and land is a smack in the face to places like Flint, Michigan, where in 2026, residents still worry if their water is safe to drink. In 2025, the Trump administration issued an executive order fast-tracking data center construction, stripping environmental reviews for any project over 100 megawatts. This order bypasses regulatory hurdles like NEPA, proving that when trillions are on the line, these companies aren't asking for permission. They're buying it.
Mark Zuckerberg couldn't believe it. He said, where are we going to get all the electricity? Because you need double the electricity that the country currently makes just to fire up those big plants. I said, well, nobody can do that. So what we're going to do is let you make your own electricity. Nobody believed it. And I said, we're going to get you fast permits. And we get them within 2 weeks.
How did we get here? How are we okay?
This is what I've never understood with Black MAGA. So how do you guys like this now? That they're coming after black communities and poisoning them with these data centers? Just asking. I thought Trump wasn't racist.
With water scarcity and pollution for tax-paying humans while granting unlimited resources to corporations? The answer is corporate greed, classism, and most of all, environmental racism. After slavery ended, Black Americans built towns, businesses, and entire economies from nothing. White America, backed by government policy, systematically dismantled them. Not through violence alone, but through zoning. Redlining didn't just deny mortgages, it funneled black families into the most desirable land near factories, rail yards, and waste sites. Once concentrated there, these neighborhoods became the path of least resistance for any corporation needing a place to put its pollution. By 1987, a landmark report confirmed that race, not income or property value, was the single strongest predictor of where toxic facilities were placed. They named it environmental racism. The consequences? Almost none. Shocker. Fines were just the cost of doing business, and permits were rubber stamped by the same agencies that enforced segregation a decade earlier. This is directly connected to the data center boom. Where are they building? The same zip code. Elon Musk, XAI, built a massive facility in Boxtown, a neighborhood over 90% black, founded by formerly enslaved people. The facility operates with methane gas turbines that pump nitrogen oxides and formaldehyde into a community already suffering from the highest asthma rates in the state. Nitrogen dioxide levels jumped by nearly 80% after XAI moved in. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is worth over $300 billion and not fixing the issue. Across the South in Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, and Virginia, over $200 billion in planned data infrastructure is landing in sacrifice zones.
Elon Musk, the guy who says that, he's not a Nazi. People are defending him, saying he's not racist. Look what he's doing. Dumping data centers in black communities.
They always promise jobs, but those jobs go to imported tech workers. The community gets dirtier air, higher utility bills, and depleted water. And a few people may get offered facilities manager position, but 10 people becoming janitors isn't offsetting the damage done to the community as a whole. In South Carolina, data centers are projected to drive 70% of the state's increased energy demand, raising costs for residents who were already energy insecure. But the easy targets are running out, and now affluent communities are feeling the heat. In Lyon Township, Michigan, a predominantly white affluent suburb, a developer quietly got approval in 2025 for a 1.8 million square foot hyperscale data center for Anthropic, the company that makes Claude. When residents found out, they packed board meetings. They formed No Data Center Lyon Township Group, raising concerns about noise, water, and property values. They are now attempting to recall all 7 members of the township board. This sounds familiar, right? This is exactly what black and brown communities have been doing for decades, if not a century. The difference is that when those communities said no, nobody listened. In nearby Saline Township, residents actually voted the data center down, only for a developer to file a lawsuit 2 days later. In this economy, no doesn't mean no, when big tech is projected to spend over $600 billion on AI infrastructure in 2026 alone. This is what unchecked corporate power looks like. This
is what they're doing.
AI data centers, not data, not the cloud, electricity, real bills on real kitchen tables. In Baltimore, one record-breaking power auction already added $17 to the average monthly bill, and another increase is locked in for this summer. In Northern Virginia, Dominion Energy is asking regulators for $20 more a month for 2 years straight. An 81-year-old widow wrote in and said she simply can't keep up. And here's the part that doesn't make the press release. In South Carolina, Black households use the least electricity of any group and carry the highest energy burden. The people benefiting least from this boom are paying the most for it. It's not just the bill either. In Memphis, there's a neighborhood called Boxtown. Historic, Black, generations deep. Right next door, a massive AI supercomputer runs dozens of gas turbines around the clock for months without even the permits required to release that pollution into the air. Boxtown didn't get a vote. They got the exhaust. Closer to home, in Prince George's County, the old Landover Mall site was lined up for one of these hyperscale data centers before residents pushed back hard enough to make lawmakers pause and rethink it. It's the same pattern every time. The infrastructure lands in the backyard, and the bill lands on the kitchen table. But here's where it gets interesting, because we've seen this exact move before, just on a bigger map. Right now, Mali's government has taken control of one of the largest gold mines in Africa, and they're building West Africa's first state-owned refinery designed to process 200 tons of gold a year on Malian soil for Malian benefit. Next door, Burkina Faso just posted a record year.
Amen. Amen. That's what Black people have to do. They have to come together and fight white supremacy when it comes to these data centers. To fight back. Play this again.
Have spiked in just 5 years in neighborhoods sitting right next to AI data centers. Not data, not the cloud, electricity, real bills on real kitchen tables. In Baltimore, one record-breaking power auction already added $17 to the average monthly bill, and another increase is locked in for this summer. In Northern Virginia, Dominion Energy is asking regulators for $20 more a month for 2 years straight. An 81-year-old widow wrote in and said she simply can't keep up. And here's the part that doesn't make the press release. In South Carolina, Black households use the least electricity of any group and carry the highest energy burden. The people benefiting least from this boom are paying the most for it. It's not just the bill either. In Memphis, there's a neighborhood called Boxtown. Historic, Black, generations deep. Right next door, a massive AI supercomputer runs dozens of gas turbines around the clock for months without even the permits required to release that pollution into the air. Boxtown didn't get a vote. They got the exhaust. Closer to home, in Prince George's County, the old Landover Mall site was lined up for one of these hyperscale data centers before residents pushed back hard enough to make lawmakers pause and rethink it. It's the same pattern every time. The infrastructure lands in the backyard, and the bill lands on the kitchen table. But here's where it gets interesting, because we've seen this exact move before, just on a bigger map. Right now, Mali's government has taken control of one of the largest gold mines in Africa, and they're building West Africa's first state-owned refinery designed to process 200 tons of gold a year on Malian soil for Malian benefit. Next door, Burkina Faso just posted a record year for gold production and tightened its export rules specifically to keep more of that value and that refining at home. The lesson is the same, whether you're in Bamako or Baltimore. If someone else controls the resource, the power, the land, the gold, they control you. The moment you control the resource, the equation flips. So what does controlling the resource look like for us, for everyday Black families right here in the DMV? It doesn't take a refinery. It takes a circle. Picture 24 people. Each one puts in $15 every 2 weeks. No bank, no credit check, no interest, no fees. Run that out. And that one small circle moves $8,640 in community wealth. Money that stays in our hands, on our terms, completely untouched by the systems that just handed us a $200 power bill increase. This isn't a new idea. It's one of the oldest ideas we have. The Suzu, just built for right now. Digital, trackable, fair by design.
Ways to fight white supremacy. Because that's what's needed right now. Trump is basically the white supremacist Jesus. And he is working hard with his buddies like Elon Musk to topple Black people any way they can.
$100, are you going to stop using ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini?
I've seen people in Virginia post their
electricity bills, and we're talking $1,200. Now these data centers are coming to Louisiana. There's one coming in Mississippi. Memphis, and South Haven is that one that Grok is
New Orleans just blocked the one in the east. Where they're being dropped in the south is no coincidence. We already know they're putting them in areas where poor people can't fight back.
I haven't looked at the numbers of the average income or the medium income in Virginia. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I won't speak on it because I don't know. But I have seen people post their electricity bills for $1,200. People in Jackson can barely afford $120 like water bill.
You're not getting to the question, Oshita.
So what happened? They can't pay $1,200 in an electricity bill.
I'm looking at my electricity bill. It's $1,200.
But you're gonna complain about it.
But then I'm gonna
complain
command ChatGPT in the same breath. Are you gonna say, you know what? Let me.
There's going to be some hard sacrifices for people to make. Let go of the apps. But AI is taking over that. People are going to need these apps to keep their jobs or to create jobs. Because most of these jobs are phasing out human beings. AI is slowly becoming the way of the future.
Goodbye to your finances, because in the next 3 years, your light bill is going to increase by 70%. And that is due to artificial intelligence and data centers. Now, again, we cannot delete AI from happening. It's going to happen. It's already here. It's happening already. They're letting you know in advance. And as the demand for AI goes up, the demand for data centers is also going up, meaning that this 70% might go to like 150 eventually. And again, everything always comes full circle. So if you are a business owner, or if you're dependent on, let's just say, Venmo or Snapchat or whatever third-party platform that you're using, this can affect you greatly. Just today, Amazon services went down, causing a whole bunch of outages for Snapchat, Reddit, Venmo, etc. This is going to keep happening. So not only is the demand on your electricity going to go up, but services might have some trouble as well, for various reasons. But let's just stay focused here. If you're dependent on any of these platforms, AWS, Snapchat, Venmo, Reddit, etc., for your income, then what does that really mean for you? Like, yes, the technology is going to get better, it's going to become more efficient, etc., but what is it really costing you? Now, I do think it's going to get better, but if, at first it has to get worse. And it really sucks, because if you're living in like Pennsylvania, for example, if you're not living in Philly or Harrisburg or Pittsburgh, then you're living in the middle of nowhere pretty much. So the fact that your light bill is going up is crazy. So if we're looking at this from the macro, not only are these people going to have way more expenses because of AI, but they might end up losing jobs because of it. Light bills going up, so you got to pay more in a pocket every single month. And if they're dependent on whatever web services or third-party platform that's using a data center, if it goes down for whatever reason, then they can't even make the money. So I think AI is solving a bunch of problems, but depending on how you're using it right now, where you live, like there's so many factors to take into consideration. AI is spawning in so many issues for the common person that if you're just living your everyday life regularly, like an average person, you're not really adapting to what's happening around you, you're taking a crazy hit every single day. It's going to get only worse as the year goes on. So if you don't,
these states right here, it's going to be really hard to keep the lights on. AI is making it to a point where you can't even move away from this. You can't even get away from this situation right here. The hidden connection between AI, energy, and black neighborhoods.
They really don't want you to know between AI, energy, and black neighborhoods, because AI data centers don't just threaten our water, they threaten our energy too. And guess which communities get hit the hardest? Ours. AI data centers need three things: water, electricity, and silence. Silence from the people, silence from the media, silence from the neighborhoods that they target. These facilities pull massive amounts of electricity, sometimes more than a sports stadium, more than a hospital, or even the whole entire zip code. When the grid gets stressed, guess who gets the blackouts first? Not the suburbs, not the wealthy neighborhoods, not the community with the political connections. It's the same communities that already deal with the rolling outages, old infrastructure, and energy bills that keep climbing while the service keeps falling. Here's the hidden connection. Data centers overload local power grids. When demand spikes, the utility companies shift the pressure onto us. They raise our rates, they ration the energy, and they shut down our blocks first. Black neighborhoods are often sacrifice zones, areas with less resistance, areas where politicians assume people won't push back, areas already fighting lead, pollution, and old wiring. New power plants get built near the same neighborhoods, and that means more pollution, more asthma, more long-term health problems. Also, big tech can keep training AI models to sell ads, push products, and automate industries we work in. This is why understanding economics is not optional anymore. This is why ownership matters. This is why being informed is power. AI is changing the world, but if we're not vigilant, it will change our neighborhoods the most, and not for the better. But we're not powerless. When we know the game, we can protect our communities. When we speak up, things change. And when we build together, nothing can stop us.
It's right there. We can't look away. A lot of people don't know what's coming. A lot of people aren't informed about Trump or the AI centers, the data centers. A lot of people do not know that this is going to be happening all over neighborhoods, regardless if it's black, white, Chinese, Asian. They start with the black neighborhoods because black people are hated in this country. And then they move from there. White supremacy blinds people, especially white people, to who's really the enemy. And that's the rich oligarchs who are trying to crush the common American, regardless of skin color.
Should be $675 when the house is pitch black. When we talk about these data centers, there is no question that the reason why our bills are as high as they are is because you've got these multi-billion-dollar corporations, Meta, Amazon, who come into our communities, who take all of their money and use it, don't pay a dime in taxes, and this is why our bills are the way that they are. We are making all the concessions as consumers in terms of what we can do to lower our bill. Lights, no heat. We're going to bed at night. I go to bed at night with no heat on at all. I turn my heat off at night and get in the bed so that my heat doesn't run all night long. When will the elected officials, our local Prince George's County officials, take our fight to Annapolis and then take our fight to the governor, who will then take our fight to the feds? We know that multi-billion-dollar corporations don't pay a dime, and this is why we are suffering. Our quality of life is in the toilet because the people who have been elected to represent us, you guys are not doing your job. Too many people have died who have been hung and beaten to have a seat at the table, and now you've got 90% of black people running this government, and you guys are treating us the same way we would be treated if we were still back in Jim Crow and 50s.
And Trump administration is trying to bring that back. The Trump administration is trying to bring that back, but a lot of people aren't listening. A lot of people aren't listening about the power grid that Trump said will be shutting down soon. We don't know when, but it will be shutting down.
And bronchitis and other things that are caused by environmental factors and pollution. So why would you want to exacerbate that situation? I'm Taylor Frazier. I'm a resident of Landover, second generation. I started a petition on change.org to help stop the data center from being built. So data centers track and store information for processing services like Google, ChatGPT, OpenAI. This one is going to be one of the biggest ones on the East Coast. It's going to use more water and more electricity than we've seen other data centers using. We do have concerns of environmental racism because they're putting it in Landover for a reason. We already got the stadium in our backyard that creates excessive amounts of traffic, and now you're going to give us a data center that's going to create excessive amounts of pollution in the area. We already have higher rates for different asthma conditions and bronchitis and other things that are caused by environmental factors and pollution. So Why would you want to exacerbate that situation? People that are living in areas where data centers are, they're having sediment in their water, they're having issues with light pollution, and then there's noise pollution. The data centers have like a hum to them. So it's gonna negatively impact people that live in the Maple Ridge community and the Palmer Park community, as well as Glen Arden.
We have 2 landfills. We have 85,000 cars a day coming up and down 210. I believe we have very poor air quality. The fact of the matter is, environmental inequities always lands in the laps of black and brown individuals. That's a fact, not conjecture. I've been over to that site. I've seen the approximate location of the residential community. We're talking about maybe 200 yards. One of the questions we'll be asking, has anybody engaged that community? Do they know what's going on? What assurances can we give them?
Most people's biggest concern is going to be the raising of their energy costs. They don't want to pay more for electricity. They don't want to pay more for water, and they don't want to have to do that so that this company can run and not pay its fair share. And then they are also concerned about the property values in the area. Understand that we have to have our finances in order as a county, but the people should come first. We can't put profits over people.
Unfortunately, black people don't count as people in America. That's just the truth. Black people do not count as people in America. That's why we're always having this stuff put in our neighborhoods. It's always the Chinese tactics.
Centers aren't being directed directly at Black and minority communities. For one, I grew up in a majority Black community, Prince George's County. They're trying to put a data center there now that they're fighting. 2, my parents grew up in a majority Black community, Rocky Mount, North Carolina. They're trying to put 2 data centers here, one of which I believe is the biggest that's planned for the Southeast region. My biggest fear is that so many people still don't know about this. And even if they do, my fear is that they don't realize the implications of having a data center near you. And when I say near, I say a state away, 2 states away. We all should be concerned about this. Probably like a month ago, I didn't even know anything about data centers. But ever since then, I saw one video about the data center in Memphis that's causing people to actually get sick from the way it's polluting their environment. Ever since then, I've just been learning more and more, and it's scary. Now I'm seeing stories about how entire communities are being gutted. People are being bought out of their homes, all for these giant data centers that are sucking up a bunch of water and a bunch of energy. And guess who's footing the bill? Not only the people in the state and the community with the data center, but people in other states. For example, in my hometown in Maryland, they're paying more for electricity because of data centers in Virginia. Now they're trying to put one smack dab in PG County. I say all this to say, if you know about these data centers and you're concerned about these data centers, make sure your people know too, because a lot of people don't. I told my mother, and she told me that this is on our generation. And I think what a lot of people aren't realizing is that this stuff is happening so rapidly that not only might we lose this fight, but this might affect us a lot sooner than we think. They're already predicting that Maryland will be having blackouts as early as 2027. And all the lies about new jobs and new money for the community, I don't believe it. It's BS. But tell your people, if you hear about a data center, even if you don't hear about it, look it up. My mom didn't even know that they were putting one in North Carolina, and she lives here. And I happened to look it up, and sure enough, they're putting it right in Edgecombe County, a Black community. You cannot tell.
That's what they're doing to us. Trying to find ways to poison us and take the land. They really just want the land. That's what it is about these data centers. They don't care about fixing the data centers so they can be safe or give jobs. They want to take your land. That's the logical way to look at it. The only reason why they ain't taking the land and putting them in Black communities is because they want the Blacks to die off so they could take the property.
Centers are operating nationwide with hundreds more planned, some in the Chicago area. Companies point to economic benefits, but residents are raising concerns. Yeah, I can hear that buzzing. Yeah, it's always there. When David Zala moved into this Aurora home in 2015, he knew he was by a data center. You can hear it as soon as you walk out. Fans just constant. but in recent years, the Cyrus One data center campus has expanded significantly. Right in your backyard. There we go. Zala and his neighbor Brian Castro both say they hear cooling fans all day and night, and sometimes generators create more noise.
You feel it in your bones.
You can feel the vibrations. Castro says the buzzing bounces through his backyard, which looked a lot different when he moved here in 2007.
This was 25 acres of nothing but forest.
Neighbors say Cyrus One put up this sound recorder to monitor noise levels and erected these walls.
The noise doesn't drop down and get stopped. The noise radiates from above.
Cyrus One said noise issues are isolated to its Aurora location and told the I-Team it apologizes for the impact this situation has had on our neighbors in Aurora. We take responsibility and are well underway with a 3-phase engineering project. The company says additional rooftop sound walls and other noise reduction equipment are on schedule for completion, and we anticipate continued improvement in sound levels. City of Aurora says these steps should help. There's also a concern over the rising cost of electric bills.
Probably 50% higher than they've been in years past.
Cyrus One says it understands that higher energy bills are a concern, and it pays for all electricity we consume at rates established through Illinois' regulatory framework, and that it takes steps with utilities to protect households from cost volatility and moderate costs over time. So a data center could be using the same amount of power as a city?
Some of them use massive amounts of electricity.
Illinois watchdog group Citizens Utility Board says the cost of improving the infrastructure for data centers can get passed on to consumers.
You have to build infrastructure and then it takes decades to pay it off. What if the data centers don't show up? Or what if they're only there for a short period of time? Then they're not going to be able to pay that off, and the rest of the customers are left holding the bag.
ABC7 has also been covering public meetings over proposed data centers, and there are questions about water use and the environment. The I-Team and ABC News studied this private company's data center map and found that there are at least 4,302 data center projects across the U.S., large and small. Of those, 3,038 are currently operational, with another 1,203 either under construction or planned for construction. 61 have acquired land. In Illinois, there are 164 operating data centers, with another 81 planned for construction. The largest state project plan is in Yorkville. It would be 2 gigawatts, and according to the ABC7 data team, would use the same energy that would power approximately 1.7 million homes, more than every home in the city.
It's really going to come to a point where people are going to have to say, maybe we should boycott Grok. Maybe we should boycott Claude. Maybe we should boycott Higgsfield or any of these other AI tools to send a message that you're not gonna price us out of our homes. You're not gonna, because if you can't afford the bills, you're gonna be homeless, and that's what they want. They don't want us to have homes. They want us priced out of our homes so they could take the homes and probably put people into camps. That's what's gonna happen. Data centers are attacking Black and brown neighborhoods.
In order to stop the construction of all these data centers, we have got to start voting locally. The way y'all show up to vote at national elections, we have to do that locally. Because I personally am watching council people in my area vote yes to these data centers. 3-4 council people and 3 of the 4. We got to vote them out. When y'all see stuff like that happens, vote them out. Get the mayors up out of there. I went and pulled the data for how many people voted in the local, the mayor runoff in my area, 500 people. That's it. The only way to stop the data centers is to go vote locally. I don't care if you rent. People like to say, well, this ain't my house, I rent. It impacts you. It impacts your children. It impacts the community. We gotta vote in the local elections. The data centers are getting out of control. They're building them in our neighborhoods because we are not voting. We gotta vote. In order to—
That's the strategy there. But these tech billionaires, they could bribe these politicians and have them saying whatever they want locally.
and at the state and local level as well.
Right here came by because I'm trying to organize a community protest.
We have fusion centers that are looking at people who are protesting these data centers, and at the state and local level as well.
Right here came by because I'm trying to organize a community protest against a representative who's trying to push in a data center owned by an out-of-state company, trying to suck up all our energy. I made a post. I made an event on Facebook trying to organize the community to get together. And what's your badge number? Name and badge number?
Detective Benson.
And name and badge number?
Sure. SHRP and it's 160.
Okay, yeah. I have a First Amendment right to protest, and if I organize a protest on a public road, there's nothing wrong with that. I sent an email to that representative, and I can show you the email. I never made a threat. I told him, no, this is my house, and I'm going to talk. You guys are on my property.
Protesting data centers
because I'm
is a threat to their
organizing a
power,
protest
folks.
against a data center. Then why are you here?
Well, that's if you let me. Okay, so first off, do you want to talk about this?
Talk about what? There's nothing to talk about. I'm organizing a protest, and I'm allowed to do that. It's a First Amendment protected activity.
110%.
Yeah.
The issue is some of the communication, the Facebook posts. I would disagree that there's.
I haven't made a single threat. Tell me what threat I made.
Okay. Well, you know what you posted.
No, give me a quote me. Quote a threat, because I didn't make one. I'm organizing a protest on a public street, demanding a representative.
The safety of his children.
Huh?
What about the safety of his children?
Someone else made a comment about the safety of
What
his
about
children.
the cops' implied violence here?
No,
They're the ones threatening violence.
If he valued his children's safety, he probably wouldn't be trying to ruin the world that they're being brought up on. And that isn't a threat. That's the fact that I'm watching this man ruin the world around here. And yes, I'm allowed to say that if someone cares about their kids, they shouldn't destroy the community that their kids are being raised in. That's not a threat.
The problem is you didn't say that in the post.
Yes, I did.
You did not.
Pull it up. Pull it up and read it. Pull it up and read it.
I've been dealing with this all afternoon.
Cool. Pull it up and read it.
Okay. So that
This is what they do. They get the rich, get the cops, because the ultra rich, they own the cops, they own the military, and they get them to do their dirty work. That's what it is. They're slowly taking away our rights every day. It brings back the Jim Crow era. And they slowly work with the blacks and then work their way up to take away everybody's rights. Because people are catching on and they don't want that anymore. And they just want us all to be slaves. That's what they want, really. And to work in company towns, which you will have no rights. And if you lose your job in that company town, you have to leave that town because that town is owned by the company that you got fired from. That's how it is.
Indianapolis's Northeast Development Commission voted to approve the data center in the historically Black community on Indianapolis's northeast side with 6 yeses and 2 noes. Martindale Brightwood resident Sierra Johnson lives just a few hundred feet away from the proposed site. Johnson says the project is not what the community wants, and they've been saying that for months.
What we are saying is that you cannot come into Martindale Brightwood and just do anything. We matter, our voices matter, and people have to feel in alignment with our visions.
Community members say they are discussing next steps to challenge the development. The data center developer, the California-based startup Metro Blocks, claims the neighborhood will benefit from an expanded tax base.
That's what they're doing. And guess what? They'll get your own kind. They will get your own kind to say that there's not a threat of white supremacy here.
A discussion about environmental racism, but what we do know is that most of the data center projects have not been in Black communities. There's a lot of misinformation that seems to be circulating.
Hearing a member of the data center task force say that
and we know with white supremacy, they will always get one of us that look like us, whether it's Black, Asian, Indian, to try to say there is no threat of white supremacy with any tactics they are using. Even say that America is not a racist nation. It's like you got Tim Scott said that. Let's keep going.
To be a discussion about environmental racism, but what we do know is that most of the data center projects have not been in Black communities. There's a lot of misinformation that seems to be circulating.
Hearing a member of the data center task force say that the siting of data centers is not environmental racism based on a cherry-picked example
is so egregious, worse than just cherry picking. It's ignoring facts. We know that data centers and the site selection is environmental racism to the point that academic researchers have given it its own term. The term is digital redlining, and this study reveals a pattern. Companies systematically choose to site data centers in the South. They systematically choose to site data centers where they are not going to face any pushback from the community and from the local government based on their decisions, and where the land is cheaper. Oh my gosh, does that line up with where the Black and brown people are? Yes, this is not a mistake.
This is what they do. This is what they do. They try to get somebody who's willing to take money to say this nonsense that there's no threat of the data centers. The data centers aren't filling up Black communities, Black and brown communities. This is how it is. The House minorities and the field minorities, and they have the field minorities willing to do whatever the slave master wants. The corporate slave master. That's all I got for now. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.